The day six of doing these streams on my channel, The Intelligence Frontier, and today happens to be the day six, and we have learned a lot of stuff. We have come across a lot of stuff, and the goal is to learn everything in public, and that's what we are doing. So the goal with this stream is to absorb as much as information and well find as much content that could educate us, that could inform our opinions, that could help us basically navigate the AI landscape. So without further ado, let's just dive straight into it. We know that Elon Musk posts a lot and he posted about Grok 4.3. So there's an official post from XAI. Grok 4.3 is now live on the X API. It's our fastest, most intelligent model to date, and it tops the artificial analyst leaderboard in agentic tool calling and instruction following. So let us go to this post and let's see what else they have mentioned over here. It tops the artificial analyst leaderboard in agentic tool calling and instruction following and ranks number one in Val's AI enterprise domains like case law and corporate finance. Grok 4.3 supports a million token context window and is priced at $1.25 per million input and $2.5 per million output. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the link of this and I'm gonna go to Grok itself, and I'll be asking it to explain this to me. So Grok is one of the very interesting tools that I've been using lately. It's a wonderful AI. Tell me everything important about it. You see, I'm gonna give it this link and it's gonna be pulling up all the data and information that it has, and that is going to help us basically understand how big is Grok 4.3. So it says Grok 4.3 is the latest flagship model from XAI, and it was released on the X API on May 5th. It is described as their fastest and most intelligent model to date. Hmm. So what else do they have that could be important to read and understand? So we discussed about the performance, like the benchmarks and its performance on the benchmarks. The context window, we talked about that. The pricing seems competitive to me, I think. Capabilities and strengths, this is something I think we should look into. What does it have to offer? Excels at multi-step workflows, function calling, and reliable tool integration. For example, code execution, web, Xsearch files, it shows major gains in real-world agentic tasks. For example, plus 300 ELO on some valuations. What exactly does this mean? So gaining plus 300 ELO in chess or seeing a jump in performance evaluation. So does this relate to chess? We can ask Gemini about this. What is 300 ELO refers to a chess rating on platforms like chess.com. Then reasoning and enterprise, strong in instruction following, low hallucination rates. This is very important for any AI. And I think Grok itself is quite factual, so it should understandably have lower hallucination rates. Specialized domains like law, finance. We even saw this over here where they mentioned about the score that it got on legal reasoning and corporate finance. sports reasoning modes, low, medium, high effort mentioned in user feedback. So with this, I think if you go for the low one, it's gonna use less tokens, and high effort will use more tokens. And then it's multimodal text and image inputs, and definitely outputs as well. And it's the fastest grok yet. High output tokens per second on XAI's infrastructure. Grok itself is quite fast, and like you saw over here, I'm using the fast version, which you saw over here. So I think this is gonna be the fastest, and even on all the benchmarks, Grok happens to be the fastest. So other features: prompt caching, structured outputs, compatibility with OpenAI, Anthropic SDKs. We need to learn more about it. Let us ask Grok what this exactly means. So we are gonna see what it says. Compatibility with OpenAI and Anthropic SDKs mean that XAI's Grok API, including Grok 4.3, is designed to work as a drop-in replacement for code written for OpenAI's GPT model or Anthropic Claude model. You don't need to rewrite your application or learn completely new library. Just change a few lines, usually the base URL and the API key, and your existing code will call Grok instead. Ah, so let us ask it to explain us in simple terms. Now I think it would be more understandable. So it means that you can use Grok 4.3 with the same code you already use ChatGPT or Claude. So if your app is using ChatGPT or Claude, with the same code you can use Grok 4.3. So in easy words, normally if you write a program for ChatGPT, you have to use special open AI code. With Grok 4.3, you don't need to change your program much. Just two changes. Just put your X AI key instead of open AI key. Change the address to point to XAI. Why is it good? Saves a lot of time. You do not need to learn new coding rules. Easy to test or switch to Grok. It's like using the same plug for different machines. Just change the socket a little bit. Yeah, so this seems a developer friendly feature. Okay, so let us read about the user and developer feedback. So X has like access to a lot of real time things happening on the X platform, and people usually take to the X platform to discuss this sort of stuff. So many builders were excited about the price to performance, integrating it for agents, research, coding, and voice. One XAI engineer called it their favorite since Grok 4. So fast responses and reliability in workflow noted. Some mention it still has occasional issues like hallucination, consistency in a very long agent chain, and few user report service glitches. Okay, comparison: competitive or beat the top models in the agentic or enterprise niche at a lower price. Though leaders like Claude and GPT variant may edge out in some creative or ultra complex reasoning. So I think we can ask Grok about the pricing, how it compares to the other models out there. So we can ask Grok about this. Okay, Grok, tell me about the pricing of Grok 4.3 and compare it with the other models out there. So give me the results in tabular form as a comparison. So now we are going to see how it compares. We are using the Grok fast version, and let's see how fast it's going to give us the results. I think it's going to be super fast. One of our Audience asked why use Grok instead of Gemini. I use both actually, and Grok has access to a lot of real-time information from the X platform, and Gemini is wonderful. Gemini, I have the paid versions of both, and Gemini, since on the back end of it is the Google search, so it also goes out there on the internet, finds the news, puts it basically puts them into understandable form. And I use Gemini mostly for like doing research related to stocks and stuff. If there's any new uh, news related to a certain stock, it will go out there, and it will I also ask it to relate it to like the price action and the movements. So Gemini itself is quite good. I have been using Gemini and Grok both, but if I need anything like quickly, if I need to understand anything quickly, I go to Grok. Or if there's anything that I feel like could be on the X platform and I need it summarized, so for that I use Grok, because usually sometimes the updates are coming first to the X platform, and then they get picked up by the news agencies, and then they put out the articles and news, and it gets listed on Google. So that's how it comes later on the Google infrastructure. So if you ask me, I'm using both, and I'm fine with using both of them and paying for both of them. So pricing comparison table per 1 million token, standard rates. So Grok 4.3, input price 1.25, output price 2.50, then GPT 4o 2.5 for input and 10 for output. And this one is highly used. Then GPT 5.4, the latest one, 2.50 for input and 15 for output. Insane. And then Claude Opus, $5 for input per million token and $25 for output. That is, guys, insane. But according to Grok, a Claude Opus 4.6 has top reasoning and is the most expensive. Then there's Gemini. Let's talk about this Gemini 3.1 Pro. So it's $2 per million tokens on the input and $12 on the output. So Grok 4.3 basically becomes the cheapest among the frontier level models, especially on the output tokens. One thing that we observed that the output price per million tokens is way higher for most of these models, especially look at Anthropic and the other ones. So I think it comes about to like 5 times more higher, but over here it's almost like double in Grok 4.3. So this is super interesting, guys. Grok 4.3 stands as a highly cost effective for developers building agents, RAG systems, or handling large documents. What are RAG systems? We need to look into this RAG system. Retrieval Augmented Generation is an AI framework that improves large language model outputs by fetching relevant data from external knowledge bases before generating a response. Okay, now let's take this and let's go to Grok and let us ask Grok to help us understand. Let me put it over here and I'm gonna dictate it. Help me understand this in simple terms and let's see what it gives us. You see this fast version, super fast, guys. So retrieval augmented generation. Imagine you have a very smart student. The LLM could be Grok, ChatGPT, who has studied a lot of books. But when you ask him a question about something new or very specific, he sometimes guesses or makes mistakes. So RAG is like giving him a librarian friend. Before the student answers, The librarian reaches the latest books, documents, or your company files, picks out the most relevant pages, gives those pages to students, then the student reads them and gives them a much better answer, accurate answer. So it's like hooking on to like an external database that could make the answers more accurate. What happens? You ask a question, then what was our sales last quarter? Then the LLM goes to find the latest sales PDF or database, pulls only the Q1 sales report, uses the real data plus its knowledge to reply accurately. This is important. Why RAG is so useful? Reduces hallucinations. So this is pretty common in large language models to give out false answers and making up stuff that is not accurate. So LLM stops making up answers, gives up to date information. LLMs don't know things after their training date. Okay, this is understandable. Usually, when a large language model is trained, it will have knowledge up to that certain date when it was released. Like I'll show you over here. Earlier, we were talking about these large language models and their pricing. So Gemini 2.5 Pro, it will have like the knowledge till the point when it was released. Same with GPT 3.1 Pro. So we can say that 3.1 Pro will have more knowledge, more worldly knowledge than Gemini 2.5 Pro. And if we talk about GPT 4.0, it will have lesser knowledge than GPT 5.4. The performance is a separate thing. However, I'm talking about their knowledge of the worldly stuff that they have been actually trained on. And these RAG makes answers more accurate and trustworthy. So, real life example, customer support chatbots. This is like very important if a company has their own SOPs, has their own procedures, so they can be well hooked up with the LLM. Legal AI reads all your contracts before answering. Medical assistants checks the latest research papers before giving information. Interesting. Personal or Grok Chat GPT, you can feed it notes, emails, or PDFs so it knows you better. So, in short, RAG is an LLM plus smart search. It's like giving the AI fresh notes before it speaks instead of forcing it to remember everything from memory. So, this is exactly what we have on the Google infrastructure now. I have the Google AI Pro, and what it basically allows me to do is have projects. I can put all of my documents related to one certain project in that one, and I can ask the AI to pull up data to give me information or to use the information to explain something that new that I came across. So now I think I understand drag, and I hope you would also find this useful. So it's retrieval augmented generation. I am also keeping a catalog of the AI related terms, and it's like a glossary of terms that I'm keeping. So I'm gonna put this on in that as well. So what we know about Grok 4.3 right now is that it's one of the cheapest models out there and one of the fastest, and it performs well on corporate finance and law benchmarks. So someone tagged Perplexity AI. Interesting. Let's go back to X. Let's see if there's any other interesting AI related news. Talking about Perplexity, I also use Perplexity to find AI related stuff and news. So over here, I'll go to Tech and Science, and Let's just talk about this. What do we have over here? I think this looks interesting. Meta building autonomous AI assistant for 3 billion users. Meta platform is building highly personalized artificial intelligence designed to autonomously carry out everyday tasks for more than 3 billion users. Okay. The project represents a major push by the social media company into so called agentic AI, in which a system is capable of acting on behalf of the users with minimal human intervention. And guys, we talked about RAG. We just talked about RAG, the retrieval augmented generation. So this is an example of RAG where Perplexity, it will be using one certain model from here. I selected for it to use the best model out there, and it's gonna pull the information from these 11 sources, or in actual like 14 sources, and it's gonna answer my question. I can ask it a follow-up question over here. So powered by Muse Park. Muse Park came out lately. I tried it like a week ago, or maybe more than a week, and I found it quite interesting. For a free AI, that is, it's like super cool. The assistant is being developed using Meta's new Muse Park AI model and is currently being tested internally by a group of employees. According to people familiar with the matters cited, okay. The goal is to create products similar to OpenClaw, OpenAI own tool that can connect to various hardware and software systems and learn from the data it produces with far less human intervention than a traditional chatbot. So the agentic AI tool will definitely be useful only when it connects to like your system, your hardware, or in this case it seems like it might connect to your mobile and the softwares that you use. So that's how it can be used. And even talking about Grok, I saw today that there was notification like it can connect to the external connectors you see. So I can see Google Drive, Gmail, Calendar, GitHub, Notion. So it can connect to these softwares and the services. So that's like a good use of the agentic AI tools, that it can go out there and do tasks for you. You can ask them to make like a Canva design, like a document. So rather than simply answering questions, the assistant is intended to handle tasks across Meta's suite of apps. One thing is that Google's infrastructure is deeply embedded in our lives. We use Google Drive, we use Gmail, and that sort of stuff. So, for them to come in and put an AI layer on top of it, that will help us connect with uh, our the apps that we are using from them, and basically put an AI layer on top of it. So that is, I think, more easy for them to do things at that scale. But which Meta apps are we using? One thing I know is that WhatsApp is owned by Meta. Then we have Facebook. Let us ask Perplexity about this. What Meta app suite are you referring to? Let's have it give us the answer. So I meant Meta's business focused app suite, mainly Meta's business suite, which manages Facebook, Instagram, Messenger from one place and lets business schedule posts, replies, and messages and view insights. If you meant the consumer apps, Meta's main apps is Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Messenger. But in this context, the article was referring to business tools. Now this makes more sense, guys. This makes more sense. Okay, now how do I go back to what I was reading before? So it made like a separate conversation. I had to go back, and it's not showing the conversation over here. Hmm. Interesting. Let's continue reading this. So now one thing is clear that it is like focused more on the business suite, Meta's business suite, mounting investor scrutiny over AI spendings. The development comes as Meta faces intensifying questions from investors about the cost of its AI ambitions. During its first quarter 2026 earning report last Wednesday, the company raised its full year capital expenditure guidance to between 125 billion and 145 billion, up from a prior range of 115 billion to 135 billion. The revision reflects higher component prices and additional data center costs to support future capacity, the company said. The midpoint of the new guidance, $135 billion, would represent nearly the double Meta's 2025 spending of $72.2 billion. Shares fell more than 6% in after hour trading following the announcement, as even the company reported first quarter revenue growth of 33% to $56 billion. So what it means is that the revenue grew, but seeing that the company is spending double on almost double on AI, so that basically pushed the stock prices down. The AI landscape is, guys, crazy. It's super crazy. You know, we saw a company like Allbirds that made shoe. They pivoted to like an AI company, and they don't have anything to show for right now. They got an insane valuation. Their stock price jumped up high, but on the other side, we are seeing that if Meta is spending more on AI, their stock price is falling down, and this is kind of insane, guys. Don't you think so? Let me know in the comments if you also think that this is insane. The AI landscape, I think it's not just giving a company that doesn't even have an AI product an insane valuation. Meanwhile, some a company that is in a good position to capture market share of AI, or basically move people into their ecosystem where they are going to spend more for the services that they are already using. So this doesn't make sense to me. What about you guys? CEO Mark Zuckerberg defended the spending on the earning call, framing AI investments as essential for future growth. I agree with that. For reinforcing Meta's core advertising business, CFO Susan Lee told analysts that Meta must invest to satisfy our infrastructure requirement and ensure we maximize our strategic flexibility in the future. And then they are also reportedly looking to raise $20 billion to $25 billion through an investment grade bond sale to help finance its AI infrastructure. I think we can ask Perplexity about this. Let me give it the access to use my microphone. So, okay, Meta AI is spending double on its AI ambitions, and its stock price fell down. On the other hand side, we know about Allbirds. They don't have any AI related products yet, and they pivoted from a footwear company into an AI branding that they came up with, and their stock price jumped up high. Don't you see the contrast over here? And what could be the possible reasons behind this? Let's ask Perplexity. By the way, I have the uh, this premium version of Perplexity, and now it's often giving me notifications to try out the computer, which is also like an agent of Perplexity. Yes, the contrast is real, but the market is reacting to different kind of stories in each case. Meta is being punished for spending a lot before investors can clearly see the payoff, while Allbirds were rewarded because the market interpreted its pivot as a radical reset with a new growth narrative and a much lower base to move from. So I think this means that Meta has a lot more to lose than Allbirds. Why Meta got hit? Meta's AI spending is huge, and investors are asking simple questions. When does this turn into earnings? Morningstar noted that rising capex, uncertainty, and generative AI payoffs. Okay. And memories of prior expensive bets have reopened margin and valuation concerns. In other words, the market is not rejecting AI itself, it's discounting the timing, scale, and clarity of returns. Huh. Why Allbirds moved up? It was a very different case. The company had already been viewed as a struggling brand. The rebrand created a fresh narrative instead of same business, more spending. The message was effectively we are abandoning the old model and trying something the market is obsessed with right now. As I think Perplexity gave me a kind of biased answer. Let me select the different model over here. What model did it select on its own? So it's not showing me which one it selected. But what about if we go with Claude? We are gonna see the different answers that it can give us. Let's see what it gives us with Claude Sonnet 4.6. One of our followers on the stream said, I cannot download Gemini app free. I don't know why that could be the case. I have the Google AI Pro account, so in that I have the Gemini access. And okay, coming back to the point. So here's what happened. Meta raised 2026 AI capex guidance. Okay, why Meta got punished? Meta is already a massively profitable company, so every dollar of extra spending is weighed against its existing earning machines. Allbirds has no actual AI products. The company simply announced a plan to buy and lease computing power to tech startups. That is it. But the market does not care about the substance, it cared about the narrative reset. A stock trading at $3 with 21 million market cap and zero expectation is essentially a lottery ticket. Okay. So the deeper lesson, stock market is not rewarding real AI progress, it is rewarding stories that fit the current obsession. So you see, guys, this is I think a much better answer than the answer it gave me before. So this is what I wanted to actually see as well. It giving me like the real answer. So for joints like meta spending is a cost burden until proven otherwise. Now let me change the model. I use Claude Sonnet and now what about this Kimi K2.6? Let's try to get an answer from this and then let us see what the difference could be. So it is taking some time to give me the answer. Why is the Kimi model slower? And discussing about perplexity, guys, it's basically a AI wrapper. So it's using all these models, and we have access to all of these, and it's on top of all these models, and it is like giving us a solution where it combines all of this, and we can use whichever we want. So according to Kimi, Allbirds was essentially a penny stock with zero expectation. When a $21 million company announces that it's becoming AI infrastructure firm, traders do not see a business plan. They see a lottery ticket on one of the hottest theme in the market. So this is also, I think, a reasonable answer. But the answer that we saw from Claude Sonnet 4.6, that was more reasonable. What is this Nemotron 3 Super? I think this is from NVIDIA. Yeah. Let us ask this the same question and then let us see what answer it gives us. It better be an interesting answer, guys. The core difference lies in starting point and investor psychology. Meta is a $1.5 trillion plus profit machine where every new dollar of spending is scrutinized for immediate ROI, while Allbirds was a distressed speculative vehicle where AI pivot offered a narrative reset that speculators could chase with limited downside. So, in the case of Allbirds, it was something that has limited downside, and the market essentially threw out money on them. So, it was more of a bet. So, I think that the Nemotron 3 Super gave me a good answer, and Claude Sonnet 4.6 also gave me a very good answer. A very reasonable answer. Anything that a normal human would see through. And let us go back to our news that we were seeing. So, Meta is building autonomous AI assistants. What do you think about this, guys? Is it going to be successful? But one thing that we need to keep in mind is that this is related to the business side of things. Let's go back to Perplexity. Let's find something else. What do they have over here? Google tests AI agent Remy to rival OpenAI's OpenClaw. Remy. I'm hearing about this for the first time. Hi, how are you? How's everything? So we are doing live stream on TikTok as well and also on all other social medias. Okay, so Alphabet is building a new AI personal agent, internally codenamed Remy, that runs inside a staff-only version of Gemini app. Business Insider reported on Monday. So the tool is being tested by employees and represents Google's latest push into autonomous agent that can act on users' behalf across companies' ecosystem of services. Now Google has a deep-rooted ecosystem of services in our lives, and I think they could gain a lot from these type of updates. And they have this new agent Remy that they are internally testing. There's one X post in the sources. Good thing about Perplexity is that it gives me the sources as well, and I can go to those sources and check out more details. So Rami is your 24/7 personal agent for work, school, and daily life. You see, guys, everything is related to AI agents. Even this news that we came across, that Meta is building autonomous AI assistant. Now we are reading through this update from Google. So everything is basically evolving around the agentic AI these days. What do you guys think of this? Have you people been using any AI agents? And even the Perplexity that I was using, you see it also has this Perplexity computer. So you can give your computer access to this, and it can basically go out and interact with your computer and look at these mods orchestrator than GPT 5.5. We can use different models over here. But anyways, the important thing is that the agentic era is bringing the companies to compete with each other. Let's get back to the point. So the Rami that Google is testing internally. So seems like it's Google's answer to OpenClaw. What do you guys think about this? I'm gonna do one interesting thing. I'm gonna ask Grok about the latest from it related to it. Let me dictate to it. Okay, Grok, go ahead and pull up everything that you know about Remy from Google using the fast version. It's gonna give me answers very fast. Let's see. Remy is the internal code name for a new AI personal agent that Google is developing. Okay. So these are the key details from internal description. Remy is your 24/7 personal agent for work, school, and daily life powered by Gemini. So essentially, it's an AI agent, and the AI that is gonna be operating it will be Gemini. It elevates Gemini app into a true assistant that can take actions on your behalf, not just answers questions and generate content. It's positioned as Google's answer to OpenClaw. Why Remy? The name's origin aren't officially confirmed, but it likely draws from Latin remigius, meaning oarsman or rower, fitting for an AI does lot of the work steering task. Okay, so this is a very new leak, so public information is limited to this BI reporting and follow up coverage. Google hasn't officially commented. Oh, guys, the interesting thing is that we are also coming across this like quite early. So this right now is a business information leak. Sometimes they are leaking information themselves, but the important thing is we are researching about all this stuff and finding it before anyone else. And in a few years from now, everything will make sense. And the time that we are giving to learning about this stuff and adopting this, it's gonna turbocharge our progress and it's gonna give us very good results in life. So on Perplexity AI, let's see what else they have mentioned. Google co-founder Sergey Brin told employees at a recent town hall that agent would be a big focus for the company and hinted at a tool similar to OpenClaw. So this does make sense. They are committed to making that sort of stuff. So the AI agent Remy, that kind of makes sense. And this was inevitable because I think at this point they have to come up with something. They have improved Gemini. They have made it significantly better. At one point, I wasn't using Gemini. Now I'm using Gemini. I have the Google AI Pro account where I'm paying for this stuff. Before we use ChatGPT, we use other sort of stuff, but now I think all of these are pretty interesting. Only thing that I'm not paying for is the Claude. I have Grok Pro. I have the Perplexity Pro plan. I have Gemini ChatGPT Pro plans. I think all of this is interesting. The broader race. The development of Remy underscores the intensifying competition among major AI companies to build autonomous agents that go beyond chatbot interactions. Google has also been pushing employees to adopt AI tools more broadly, with CEO Sundar Pichai noting that 75% of companies' new code is now AI generated. So, guys, that is like a wild journey from Google Bard to now Remy. I think I'm gonna ask Grok to basically tell me about the journey and okay, go ahead and we'll map out the journey of Google in AI, starting from Bard to now the speculated Grammy. Let's see, guys. Let me also sip my coffee alongside. This is very important because it's 4:19 a.m. and we are reading this stuff. Okay, so this is like very detailed. What I can ask is go ahead and make a roadmap for me. So let's see if the roadmap that it gives us will help us understand it better. Okay, so this is like a future roadmap. I'm not like looking for that, but I think we can start from here. We can read through this. So the early foundations and the code red pre 2023. Google had long invested in AI with breakthroughs like Lambda 2021, a dialogue focused model for natural conversations. However, internal caution around safety and biases delayed public deployment. Just imagine if it that came to market in 2021, Google would have been dominating this AI race. In November 2022, OpenAI's ChatGPT launched and shocked the industry, prompting Google to declare an internal code red and accelerate efforts. Bard era. So this was in March 2023. Google launches Bard as an early experiment in generative AI. Initially powered by Lambda, it was positioned as a collaborative tool for creativity and information. Then transition to Gemini models late 2023. Google announced Gemini in December 2026, first natively multimodal LLM handling text, images, audios, videos from ground up. Then rebranding and Gemini as the flagship in 2024. Bard is officially rebranded as Gemini. Then Gemini advances. So Google One AI Premium. I have this account, this subscription by the way. Gemini expands into Gmail, Docs, Search, Maps, Android. I think it has been around since 2024. So Gemini evolution and scaling 2024 to 2025. Then the current state. Right now we have the Gemini 3 3.1, and they are moving into the agentic AI race. So Gemini is now Google AI's backbone, embedding search, workspace, Android, and more, with 750 million monthly users in over 230 countries. Remy leaked in May 2026 in an internal codename for a productive 24/7 personal agent powered by Gemini. Just imagine this, guys. You give it a task and it does it on your behalf, and you might be sleeping. Let's say you need a presentation made by morning. You just basically give it the presentation, and then it will go out and make the presentation for you. And when you wake up to actual progress. This is where the AI agents are useful, and I think the future is definitely of AI agents. And then the AI agents not just remaining like um, in our phones, in our computers, but we are also gonna be having robots, humanoid robots. So the AI agents expanding into the humanoids segment as well. So this is where I think the future of AI and robotics lies. The agentic AI. That is like the keyword over here, guys. And having a 24/7 personal agent, it's like having someone work with you on your behalf. This is pretty interesting. You people have to let me know down in the comments if you think that there's a very bright future for AI and how it will be helping all of us achieve more in our life. This just fascinates me a lot. And it's been, I think, less than an hour we have been looking into AI news and stuff. I'm gonna end the live stream over here. Some of the content I'm gonna put it separately as videos on the channel. And if you have been watching the stream, do let me know down in the comments where you are watching this from. I'm streaming this from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and let's have a conversation down in the comments. Gonna end the live streams, and I hope all of you stay blessed and would be in the best of health, wealth, and love and happiness in your lives. And we'll see each other soon in